Welcome to the ripple effect of love for dads and families. Today, we look at unlocking your joyful energy. We all know that stress can play a big part in how we show up, and if we show up centered, grounded, or if we're carrying this frustration and overwhelm, how can there be room for our joy to flourish, to be part of who we are in this moment, to be stuff is sticking out. Sorry, it's me. Okay, so let's get the show going today. I'm Christine Bernard, stress management coach, master EFT practitioner, and much more. Every day I'll share maybe a little something different. So let's start by looking at, is stress blocking your happiness? Because it can. If you're stressed about a project that's going on at work, how can you be in the moment, focused on the beauty of what's going on? For example, I love to see the snow falling outside, the white flakes. Those of you who know enough about snow and more, snowflakes, and how beautiful it is, well, in my perspective, obviously, and it brings me joy. However, if I'm stuck in my thoughts are stuck in a stressful situation or something going on in some chaos or other, I'm not even noticing the snow falling. And I'm unable, therefore, to enjoy that moment. It's the same thing with our loved ones, with our children. They can come into the house in a happy mood. However, we are a little bit off and are not realizing the impact that we have when we come in and we're all carrying that stress. And they're like, oh, hi. And you're like, okay, leave me alone. I got to do my stuff. And I understand and I get it. I was there. However, today, I want to bring you to, what if before walking into the house, or when you get up in the morning, or I don't know, things are chaotic and you're like, I'm going to explode. You go to the bathroom and you self regulate. How would that change your life? Let's give it a go. Snap or clap. Breathe in, tapping on the sternum gently. As we breathe in for 3, let's relax those shoulders and exhale for 4. Notice what happens inside of your body. Do your best, whether you can or not, do your best to notice. If you have an attitude of, I can't, this is not working, it's okay, you're right. Move on to something else. But if you're willing to be here and to unblock some of that stress that blocks your happiness, that blocks your joy, right? Let's take a nice deep breath in. Relax the shoulders. If you need to wiggle them, go for it. Relax the spine and exhale that stress, whatever it is, onto the spiraling train. And allow it to be burned by the magma. Yes. We were all kids at one point. We all liked animation. And I think it's important that you kind of have the same technique as your kids, as your children, because it makes it easier. But if you prefer um, an incinerator, we can do it. Breathing in. Notice in your body, where's the tension? Is it here? Is it there? Your toes all scrunched up? Are they relaxed? Are your fingers like this? Are they like just nice and gentle? Are your thumbs stretched straight out? Are they relaxed? Relax the shoulders and exhale into the incinerator. And you can ask, what's blocking my joy? And see what comes up for you today. It's possible there's all kinds of things that prevent us from being in joy. Maybe we've got so much in our mind that there's no room to just pause, take a peek at nature, and just, when you were small, did you enjoy nature? We have somebody coming on Thursday. Byron is coming on Thursday to talk about the amazing effects that nature has on us. I know it does. I need to be in nature. If I don't go in nature, it's like I lose my center. Even though I'm doing the snap, tap, and zap, yes, it helps me. But being in nature has a whole different grounding effect on me, where it becomes easier for me to let go. So we'll find out more on Thursday. I hope you can come. And tomorrow on Wednesday, we have Kevin who's joining us, and he will be talking about different ways to communicate with our teens. And we'll learn more about that. So let's tune back into our bodies. We've been tapping. We can change spots. We can go on the meridian point right here. There's my collarbone. Here's the knob just here. Take a deep breath in. And let's just release that resistance so that we can be here, present, right now, in the moment. And release it on the spiraling train or the incinerator, whatever makes you happy. And if it's the thoughts that are coming up today, it's like the hamster wheel's going, you're thinking of this, thinking of that, thinking of this and that. Let's make the C shape. Put it around the ears. And just tap gently. Relax the shoulders and exhale. Breathing in. Relaxing the shoulders and exhaling. Put that onto the hot air balloon. And see yourself pulling on the string for the fire and burning all those thoughts. Just see them coming out of you, if you can. And then let's take one more deep breath, and you can tap on the sternum, collarbone point, around the ears, whichever feels best for you right now. It's about you, what feels best for you. Well, I'm feeling calmer. I hope you are as well. And I'd love for you to I'd love for you to share in the chat what helps you shift. Because shifting is so important, from stress to joy. Is it just bringing your attention, or is it doing like Alex Riley suggested, just to say calm, cool, collected, and he's back centered and he's dumped the stress out? Congratulations to him for having learned that when he was 19, I think he said. And to be able to do this today with his teens. And even though we have tools, it doesn't mean that everything is super easy and we have zero issues. What it means is that in the moment, we can use these tools so that we can shift our energy and transform our day so that our family dynamics, so that we have a better day. It's so easy to be triggered by people, situations, things happening. However, to be able to shift that quickly and easily is mind blowing. Christian Mendez, the dad who joins me often on this show, was mentioning um, earlier this week that after 23 years with his spouse, the last few weeks, it is the first time they are able to communicate without arguing. Can you imagine? Are there arguments in your life? If there are arguments, learn to self-regulate is my biggest tip for you. But if you have another strategy, go for it. Find what works for you. If you want to know more about the self-regulation, you can book a quick 20-minute call with me on the QR code here and see if we are a good fit for me to help you. And I'm very transparent. If I do not think I can support you, I will let you know and I will find another resource to support you, or I will help you or give you another direction to take. We don't all use the same solutions to get from point A to point B. However, when we find the one that works for us, we stick to it and we practice. You know, when you go to the gym, do you go once? And once you've been to the gym, you come back and you've got your buff muscles and you're like, yay, I got my six pack. Of course not. So, self regulating with Snap Tap Zap is the same thing. You need to keep going to the gym. You need to keep practicing the ABCs of Snap Tap Zap. And online here, I haven't shown you all the other steps of the Snap Tap Zap. I just keep it nice and simple for everyone for everyday use. But there are other tricks and tips that you can learn. I also have a great program for the kids. It's 1 to 2 minute videos, a 12-day challenge for the little ones, maybe up to age 10, depends how mature your child is. And it's all in a 2D video animation. That way, it's more fun for them instead of looking at me. I mean, you know, be kind of interesting. So, on that note, breathe in. What brings you joy today? Have you done anything so far that brought you joy? Maybe it was to come here, take a minute, have lunch with me, and snap, tap, zap, and, be in a loving, safe environment. Maybe it's going for a run after work in the park, you know, feeling the freedom and embracing our playful energy. It's important to find ways where we can do things that we love and that our children or our teens love. I still remember, picking leaves in the fall. I had a ton of them where I used to live, and it would take like days and days to pick them all up. So, with the wheelbarrow, we would fill it up, and then one child would get to lay on top and we would dump it with the child in it, right? That was kind of fun. And then the next time, it was the next child that went in. And when my son grew up to be old enough, because they're 6.5 years apart, then he was the one that would carry the pack of leaves, the wheelbarrow of leaves, and dump my daughter into the pile. And then we would run and jump in the pile because it got so big. And then we'd bag it for Halloween in those Halloween bags. But it was a job that needed to be done, but that added so much joy. We had fun doing it together. And if they missed a spot or something, I never said a thing. I could always go again later on and continue picking up, and the wind takes care of a few leaves too. Or you go through with the lawnmower and it chews up what's been forgotten behind. So there are so many different ways. When my son was a teenager, what he really liked was movies. So we would choose movies we both liked. We'd propose a few and then we'd look and see if there was anything similar or if we could sway from one movie to the next, whatever. And and we had a great time. We'd go out, we'd have a poutine. Now this is a very Quebec thing. A poutine is French fries with a gravy sauce and cheese curds. So you put the fries on the plate, you put the cheese curds, and then you pour the gravy sauce. Some people like to have lots of sauce. There's a little culture. And we'd have a poutine and have a great time. So there are many, many little things that we can do. We loved playing board games too. Or on Friday at the end of the week, my kids loved making supper. Okay, now here's a new definition of supper for me, who's a really health nut. It was crackers, carrot sticks, celery sticks, and a can of oysters, or, something really simple that they could put together on a tray, bring to the living room, and we'd watch a movie together. Those were super joyful things that we would do. Now that they're 25 and 31, they came over for a nachos for lunch. And then we had the opportunity to play some board games together. And we laughed. And it was just about having fun, doing silly things. And it was really nice to be able to do this. So, as our children evolve, we need to be looking at what it is that we can do differently and make sure that we ask them what brings them joy as well. When I see my children playing a board game with me and laughing their heads off with Scrabble because my son wanted to put an English word jaw, J-A. Well, that's not a word. And so then my daughter contested it and on went the fun. And of course, it is not. So she won the argument on that one. And we had a beautiful time together. So Christian is joining us. Welcome, Christian. So, what brings you and your family joy? Mhm.
Something that brought me extreme joy yesterday was, and we talked about my wonderful little man. He defended and stuck up for himself and his peers a few days ago. And you're wondering, what kind of school is he in? Because yesterday he was bullied by a group, or attempted to be, by a group of boys.
Mm.
And he's been tapping and breathing, and he was able to stand his ground. He was able to be firm in what he was. And then there was another, so it was a kind of big incident, and then he handled it. He handled it phenomenally well. He asserted his voice. He maintained his composure. I can hear how he was kind of a little bit of shaking, but he handled it phenomenally. And then later on in the day, he had an incident on the track where he was running and he fell, and it was all on his own. But he was able to recover and not just self-regulate, but yeah, just completely like not be so bummed out because he was already in a bad mood. He also had great support from one of his teachers and his first teacher, but he also has another teacher that supported him in that. So it's wonderful overall just to see not only strides and changes that we're doing and implementing that are already positively affecting him and his surroundings, but it's something that is being instilled. And you just mentioned it right now.
Yeah.
when you get to see a whole new different pattern in a whole new different environment, and you're going like, dude, I could have never thought to have fun like that with my brothers and sisters. I like that's
Mm,
unheard of.
mm.
And so it really is. It's such a beautiful place to be, to know not only did he handle it so well, and he's
Can
the
you,
one
I'm
that
sorry, Christian, can you, so I have a few thoughts that I want to throw out here, but what I believe I'm hearing and seeing and sensing is that you have been treating yourself with self-love and you have been listening to your inner wisdom. So then he is now able to do these two things. And when he was faced with these bullies, his inner wisdom kicked in
I
and
sure did.
his calm, cool, collected self,
Yeah, yeah,
because he self
yeah,
regulates with
yeah,
you and
yeah.
because he sees you not getting angry about situations that trigger you, he
Mhm,
sees you self regulate. And this is what I said to you at the beginning. Remember, very beginning, I said, Christian, we will focus on you.
mhm,
And
mhm,
when your
mhm,
children are
mhm,
ready,
mhm, mhm,
they will
mhm,
pop in. Well, they will join you in self
mhm.
regulating.
Yeah,
Please, remember the
yeah,
saying,
yeah, yeah,
please
yeah.
don't impose it on them
Right, right.
because, and this is like, we impose so many things on our children sometimes without realizing it.
Even if it's a positive, you cannot.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
And here we want them to learn it and have this internal motivation to use it. And the
And I want to
best,
pause right
yep,
there
go
because
for it.
it's going to be in a loving,
Yes,
healthier,
yes,
supportive
yes,
environment. And
yes,
even if you're not there yet,
yes.
that's
It's
okay.
okay.
It
It's
is now a changed and it is going to be a supported. And even if you fumble, we talked about
it's
fumbling the ball,
okay. We all
it's
do.
okay. Yes. But now you will be able to share. And again, definitely don't impose. And I had to pause because as I told Christine, we don't impose good behavior. We don't impose bad behavior. We don't impose. We learned long ago that they learn better being supported
Yes,
and allowing them to find their own way, navigate their own. So yeah,
yes.
we've struggled with my oldest
Hmm.
for like early years in like potty
Before
training
you
and
go
stuff
to
like
your
that.
oldest, before you go to the oldest, okay, since your son went through a traumatic event, right? That can be quite traumatic. He was
Yes.
able to stand up, he was able to set boundaries, he was able to, I don't know all the specifics of it.
Yeah.
And when he got home with you, did you ask him, how can I help? Like,
No, because yesterday I was listening and I
mhm,
started kind of like, well, you handled it well, but next time, and I go, no, 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 and I stopped myself and I said, no, no.
mhm.
And so I didn't want to criticize. I didn't want to
No, no,
add.
no.
I didn't. No, no, no. I'm just saying. I didn't
Yep.
want to like because I didn't want to add any commentary or ask him
Mhm,
anything because
mhm.
I wanted him to know he did phenomenal. That was
Mhm.
his win. Yeah, that was his
Wow.
win. Anything else, I didn't want to chime in because I didn't want him to have anything. So I just reassured him
Okay.
and
Yes.
and then yeah,
Reassuring him.
just
Yes.
reassured him, tell him he handled it very well,
Mhm.
just congratulating him, and
Yes.
then I let him kind of think about it, and then later on I go, I had to tell you, but I didn't want to tell you all at once, and how there was this group of them, and how you stood up, and how you stood there in front of these, let's just say 4 or 5, and another little guy kind of chimed in when they were kind of asking him questions. So I said, understand what you did. Furthermore, what you did great, but now furthermore, not
Yes.
only did this your other buddy, but you stood there, and it's you could say eye to eye with all of these and understand. You are not, and not that you need to be shaken. You're not afraid, and other people can also stand up. And I wanted, that's why I was saying,
Mm.
chiming
Yes.
in, because he developed a program at school for other kids that are getting bullied to scan a QR code, and it sends it an email to the principal and the counselor and the vice principal. So that's why I was kind of integrating that in
Mhm.
regards to that. And the reason why I had comment about the older and we go back to the younger is we didn't make this, we didn't allow my oldest to have the same time frame as my younger
Mm.
because we didn't want to impose things.
Exactly.
So they've learned at different times and in
Yes.
different
Yes.
ways,
Yes.
and that's another thing. But again, even though we've done that for years, we were not at the self-regulation and in
Mhm.
the communication. And
Yes.
so I can understand that my oldest may
Yes.
have harder time with some of these newer things.
Mhm.
And I have nothing to be upset or frustrated
No.
for
No.
because those are just my teachings and my routines with her that I am accountable for.
Yes, and when she's ready, she'll show up.
Yes,
And you'll
yes,
just and
yes.
you'll know because you are ready.
Yeah.
You're ready today, you're ready. If she's not ready, it's okay. But when she is, you will be there. And you know, you talked about something about girls.
I'm gonna talk about that and I'm gonna finish it because I'm
Okay,
running. We
yeah,
got
there's only
kids.
4 minutes. Go for it.
We got a kids event, and again, that's my
Good.
priority. So I'm gonna
Yes.
leave you with this. I was at picking up dinner, and I was picking up dinner with the wife, and this older gentleman and this other person, um, and a lady behind the counter. So the employee was, and she gave me a really hot piece of chicken just out of the fryer, and she wanted me to taste it because she's going, "This is fresh." So I took it, and I'm like, and she's waiting, and I'm like, and a little bit, and it's hot. And then she goes, "Oh," and she's like, she did finish whatever, and then she came back and she goes, "I'm sorry." So from afar she goes, "I'm sorry, I just realized I gave you that piece of chicken to show you that it was fresh, but I realized that it's really hot, and I am sorry, and I see you there kind of with your hands." And then and the older gentleman laughs, and it's a funny thing. I said, "Yes, but seeing that beautiful woman that's walking around behind me, that's the wife, and I've been married to her for 24 years." And that last year in November, I said, we entered a no argument phase, and I also respect women enough not to argue. So when you gave me that, I just smiled, and I'm going to go ahead and take it because I don't argue or I don't talk back. She's taught me a lot. And the older gentleman, he's like cracking up when I said no argument. He goes, "Well, that must take a whole lot of effort." And now another gentleman, also younger though, I said, "You know what, sir?" I said, "No, it takes the same amount of effort
Mhm.
for me to say, I'm going to defend myself, and whatever you're going to say, I'm going to hear it to prepare to tell you where I'm right or where you're wrong or where I'm wrong and when you're
Yes.
right." And I said, and
Yes.
I don't do that anymore. I choose to listen, to understand, and how I can better equip myself in the moment to support my partner and what she's communicating to me that I need to be.
Yes. And you probably use less energy now to communicate than you did before, if we're honest.
Well, and maybe it's not so much less energy, but I know that it's positive. So thank
Mm.
you. We're gonna catch up,
Yeah.
and that's
Yep.
the other
Have a
thing too.
great
It's
show and
consumption.
congratulations to your son, Christian. And thank you, everyone, for being here. And if you'd like to book a call with me, here's the QR code and take great care of yourself. How can you add a little bit of joy in your life today? Think about it, journal about it, share it. It's so important to focus on joy instead of all the stress. Release the stress, and there'll be all this space. I still remember this 86-year-old client who drove away one day and she's like, "Oh, Christine, I had never noticed there are all these beautiful trees when we drive down this road." I was like, yeah, being present allows us to see something. Our head takes us out of our heart, unfortunately. So when we can tune into our heart and see with the eyes of our heart, that to me is the secret to joy. So I wish you a great day and see you tomorrow when Kevin is here to share some of his amazing information. So just keep being the best that you can be. Give yourself grace. Allow yourself space to just be you.